Hello everyone, today we're going to be discussing the limited edition collection in CS2 and why I think you should not invest into it into the future or in very specific circumstances, which I'll explain in this video. So first of all, thank you for watching the video for the AK-47 Aphrodite. I think this went way beyond my expectations for the viewers. So thank you for that. And let's continue onward. So first of all, let's start with the basics of this skin collection. You can see we have 4 skins in total, 3 of which have been discontinued so far, and only the Aphrodite is currently still in the Armory that you can continue to redeem for the next 53 days as of recording this video, which is the 7th of May 2026. So essentially the way it works is you buy a pass, you grind out Armory stars, and you need 125 Armory stars to redeem the skin. Once you reach 125, you can redeem the skin and you'll get 1 out of 5 wear types for the skins going from factory new to battle scarred. And the rarest one is factory new because this skin has full float cap of 0 to 1, which is displayed here. So essentially the rarest you can get is the factory new, and it's only 3% of the total supply currently. So this is for the Aphrodite. For the rest, as I mentioned, they have already been part of the armor rotation. They have been swapped out. So anything that has been redeemed from the community for these skins so far, this is it. The supply will basically get a lot lower from now onwards because a lot of people get train banned. Some people will forget their account passwords, etc., etc. So essentially, what has been redeemed for these skins, that's it. For the Aphrodite, we have a little bit less than 2 months remaining to see how many we'll have. But if we go into CS2 database, which you can see here, you'll see that the total supply for all rarities wear types from factory neutral battle scars for AXMs are 225,000, which is okay for this skin type. I mean, it's a shotgun, which is not particularly very popular currently in the meta, unless Valve buffs this gun. So I see this as an okay supply for now. So this is for the restricted or the lowest rarity currently in this collection. Going one rarity upwards for the classified, we should expect to have, at least in theory, according to the skin economy and to the skin telemetrics. So we'll have one rarity upwards. We should have less skins of this collection because it's a lot rarer to redeem. However, because the skin collection is not working like the rest and you can choose which skins you redeem from the armory, a lot of people chose to redeem solitudes and heat treaters once they were part of the armory, and this is why you see in the CS4 database you have 1.2 million in total redeemed skins for all rarities from factory new to battle scarred, and the same for the Deagle heat treated. You see that it is 1.1 million in total. So essentially, you see that in total we have 5 times more redeemed for each Deagle and the Solitude skins compared to the XM skin. So this is for the already existing skins that were already swapped out of the armor rotation. And the last part is here the Aphrodite. So this is a skin that is still currently being able to be redeemed. And since we have 53 days, we can extrapolate data and we can probably expect around 200,000 to maybe 250K total supply, which will be. Because first of all, there is this sentiment in the community that this skin is ugly. And second of all, it's priced a lot higher than the counterparts for the restricted and for the classified skin types. So this is essentially what's blocking the Aphrodite from becoming the next Solitude and Deagle heat treated. So another thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but you cannot trade up the skins from this collection. So you cannot trade up the Solitude to the heat treated or Solitude M4, or you can trade up the Solitude and heat treated to the Aphrodite. Not at least yet. Maybe in the future, once we have more collection skins into this collection, potentially Valve will make an update where you can trade up these skins. And if this ever happens, this will probably crash down the price of the Aphrodite because currently this skin is the rarest out of all. And if this happens, it will really crash down the price of the Aphrodite. So this is another thing to consider. So another red flag that I've noticed about this skin collection is that the M4 and the XM are part of the same Solitude quote-unquote collection. Whereas heat treated, the Deagle is part of the limited edition collection, but for some reason, the 5.7 heat treated exists, and this skin is not part of the limited edition. It's actually part of the Sport and Field collection. Here it is, 5.7 heat treated. Both of the 5.7s and the Deagles, you can see heat treated skins. One of them is actually classified, the other is restricted, but this doesn't bother me that much. The thing that bothers me that they're part of different collections, even though they're the same in theory, like the M4 and the XM skins. So if we go for the Deagle, you can see that it has been released on 4th October 2024, and alongside the 5.7 has been released on the same date, just part of the different collection, which, I mean, kind of interesting decision here on Valve's counterpart. Probably because this gun has an alternative, which is the 5.7 case hardened. So for those of you who don't know it, this is the skin I'm talking about. This is the initial like pattern-based skin that really blew on CS radar for the skins from the AK-47 case hardened. And Valve made it so that you can have the skin for the weapon case 2 into the 5.7. So essentially, this heat treated gun for the 5.7 skin is, in my eyes at least, recycled case hardened and in everyone else's eyes. And you can also make the argument that this skin, the 5.7, compared to the Deagle, has a lot more potential because this skin cannot be traded up to in the limited edition collection to get the Aphrodite. However, you can trade up the heat treated 5.7 to get either the Galil Rainbow Spoon or the Glock Axia. And from then onwards, you can also trade up to get to the Fate if you want to gamble. But essentially, you can make the argument here that even if you don't have like a rare pattern of this skin, you can trade up to Rainbow Spoon or the Axia and subsequently to the Fate. So essentially, you have more power with this skin here. Now, with all this in mind, let's also check what if, let's say this is so-called limited edition. I mean, I know it's just the name of the collection. It's not really limited, but essentially every skin in Counter-Strike, if you think about it, is kind of limited because you have like only a decent portion of time that you can redeem it through. So whether that's the Armory collections, whether that's the limited edition collection itself, or just some cases that have been removed from the active drop duty pool, we'll make the argument here to see how limited actually is the M4A1S Solitude compared to another classified M4A1S from, let's say, an active drop duty pool. So let's say this is the data of all the cases unboxed for the past month. And you can see here that the active drop duty are the Dreams and Nightmares, the Revolution case, and the Kilowatt case. Out of all three, I checked, and the only one that has the most similar skin is the Kilowatt case, where you can go and check for the Kilowatt case. You'll see here you have the M41S Black Lotus, which is classified, and it has the same fault range 0 to 0.7 for the skin gun, just like the M41S Solitude. So here you can see 0 to 0.07. Now, this skin is still actively dropping the Black Lotus. So if we go into the fault database and search for it, you'll see that you have 1.1 million items in total registered into the database. Now, I'm not sure if this accounts for some of the items that have been used as a sacrifice in the trade-up contracts to get the next gun into the collection, which probably is the Inheritance or the Chrome Cannon. But still, I mean, this is just a very easy comparison to show you how this skin, even though it's not like a limited or anything, is just the same amount of numbers as a quote-unquote limited edition item. So this is one thing that, one more thing that is bothering me about this collection. Another thing is that if Valve ever decides to release like gold and subsequently make all these skins trade upable into this skin collection, once we have more of these skins, probably Mil-Spec and another restricted guns as well, this will crash down the prices of the Aphrodite immensely because you have essentially 2.3 million around there skins for the heat treated and the Solitude. So essentially, this is very bad in the future unless you stock up on these skins from now, which is very difficult to advise on, and not only advise on, but also it's very hard to predict because this might happen, just like the knife trade-up that nobody expected happen, and Valve do such kind of updates from time to time. But also, it's very difficult to suggest because if this never happens, basically what you're having up is stockpiling up on some skins that are never going to be used, and you probably don't even bought because to enjoy them, but just purely because of the money aspect. So here, be careful with this. This is very borderline conspiracy territory theory. So yeah, I would not suggest going down this path. But I mean, the most riskiest place, at least retrospectively, have been the most beneficial ones for the skin investing, and not skin investing, but in general for market kind of investing. So yeah, this is just one thing. Another thing I also wanted to cover in this video is regarding the Armory as a whole, the Armory concept. Now, I know a lot of YouTubers have invested a lot of in the skins in their portfolio and have made the arguments to invest to you in them as well, just like the limited edition items as well. However, I don't really recommend this because the thing about these collections and all of them, once the community overinvests into something, just like it happened with the limited edition item, it just doesn't return the same results that the people have expected. So basically what you get happening is just like the Paris capsule incident, which for those of you, if you don't know, was about the the stickers for the Paris major, Paris capsule. So if you go into this, sorry about this, I have to remove the filter for the M4. You can see that the quantity is 260,000 on the market currently, and there's not accounting for the amount of stickers, capsules that are into storage units in most of people's inventory. So there's probably like potentially 30 million or even more. So here you can see that this capsule is never going to recover in price. And this is what you don't want to happen to your skins. So if you don't want this to happen to your skins, you have to follow all of the trends that people suggest you to follow. Because if you follow them, this is what happens. A lot of people over investing into skins, and then you don't have the market demand to show up for them. If you go to search for the M4A1S Solitude, you'll see that there's currently 6,000 field tested and 2,500 battles card, but the most important factor I'm looking at is the factory new skins. Usually factory new skins are very expensive for any kind of guns, but here you can see, if you go into the lifetime, that the price has been skyrocketing initially, where the sentiment was the best for the market for the skin, before people realized that this skin gun is very popular. A lot of people have redeemed it. A lot of the patterns that have been considered rare have been found out that they're not so rare because there are a lot of patterns and a lot of just in general, this skin, I don't see it ever recurring because there's the market demand for it never showed, and I don't think it will ever do unless, as I mentioned, Valve make an update to trade up the skins to the next rarity in the collection. And yeah, basically this is what I wanted to tell you to just stay clear from the most popular advice to invest into these collections. Usually you want to invest into something that is a little bit more niche. However, not like the sugar case collection, because for instance, this is one of the worst performing collections and probably why Valve are removing it from the Armory rotation. But you don't want to invest into over-invest into such kind of stickers as well, because there's a reason to not have a lot of demand for it. Just because it's not like popular, it doesn't mean it will go up in price. It means that there's no demand for it either. So if there's no demand for it, you just have a lot of the market for yourself and you have nobody to sell it to. So you have to avoid such kind of situations for these stickers and for the most popular collections as well. So here the play would be for the future, if Valve want to remain having the limited edition item some kind of spice and people to redeem it, probably the best course of action here would be to remove this timer thingy here that says counted numbers days remaining. if they want to have like a good market dynamic, a lot of people kind of like investing into this item into the future, they just need to remove this and to just be like the charms. Like you see, the charms are here for kind of like 2 years now, I believe, and nobody even knows when they will be, if ever, removed. The same thing for the fever case, the same thing for the community stickers, and the same thing for Overpass 2024 correction. I mean, it's just in the Armory, it doesn't say when it will be removed. Maybe when they're kind of swapping out, they'll bring like this message, and that's it. But for me, to me, it doesn't make any sense to have like this message here, because once you know how many times it will be days counted before they're made, you can always convert it into stars. And this is a bad practice because you can kind of price in this factor for the market. I mean, if you know when the skin is being removed, basically you know when you can finally redeem it to yourself. And if you don't know, you try to redeem it as fast as possible so you don't lose the chance of kind of missing out on this skin. So yeah, I'm not sure if you get the point, but this is essentially what I think it needs to happen. As for the rest of the collections, many collections that are going to be released, the so-called Spy Tech and the Arabesque collections, I don't believe they are going to be part of the new map pool. I believe Valve will remain the exclusive writers of the map pool released skins, and these skins will be released just like on the Armory currently that have been released so far. So basically, these skins will be replacing the Train and the Sport and Field collection. But for instance, the Sport and Field collection is not tied to any map pool. It's just a Sport and Field collection. It's not Overpass, it's not Train, it's not anything else. So most probably, the Arabesque collection and the Spytech collection will be just like the Sport and Field collection. They will be just a community-made collections. That's the first thing that is going to be for the community, because I don't think we have so far had collection that has been released entirely by the community, unless you count the cases where a lot of the skins are part of the Steam Workshop skins that have been released to Valve. So yeah, basically that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and yeah, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. I'd love to read them out, and yeah, see ya.